Imagine this. Cairo, 1990. Early morning in El Gamaliya. It's quiet, the city's just waking up. But near the old Al Ghafir cemetery, a worker, he sees something, a shape on the ground.
Yeah, it's a man. Turned out he was 36 years old.
Yeah.
Fully clothed, just lying there.
But it's immediately clear something horrific happened. He's covered in blood, massive, really severe wounds across his neck.
Right. And the initial scene, it's confusing for the police. They identify him straight away, Jamal. His ID's right there in his pocket.
Which is odd, isn't it? If it was a robbery, why leave the ID? Why is he fully dressed?
Exactly. And if it was, say, a street fight, well, there were no signs of a struggle. Nothing. It just didn't add up.
So today we're diving deep into the life that ended so violently there. We're looking at a marriage that began back in 1979 and somehow spiraled into this calculated, deadly betrayal.
And the sources we have lay out this path. It involves abandonment, this really strange apathy, and incredibly, a written contract to commit murder.
A contract, wow. Okay, but let's get back to the crime scene. You said it was confusing.
Hugely. Because the first big twist, the first aha moment, came from the forensics team. Their report completely contradicted what the scene suggested.
How so?
Jamal wasn't actually killed by those terrible slashes to his neck. He'd been poisoned first.
Poison. But then why the slashes? Why go to the trouble of dumping the body and making it look so brutal afterwards?
Well, it points towards deception, doesn't it? The poison explains why there were no defensive wounds, no signs of a fight. He was likely already unconscious, totally incapacitated.
I see. So he couldn't fight back.
Precisely. And that finding completely shifts the focus of the investigation. This wasn't random violence. It had to be premeditated. It had to be someone close.
So the police start digging into Gamal's life. They find out he lived in Manshia Nasser, ran a fava bean cart, apparently quite popular.
Yeah, a real local figure.
Yeah.
He had 5 kids, young ones. And everyone the police spoke to, neighbors mostly, they described him as a good man. No known enemies.
A good man with no enemies, murdered in such a personal, calculated way. It screams intimacy, like you said.
And then comes the breakthrough, the absolute turning point. It was a conversation investigators had with Gamal's eldest daughter. She was only 9 years old.
Just 9. What could she possibly tell them?
They asked her who came to the house often, and she immediately mentioned Uncle Mahmoud.
Uncle Mahmoud. Okay, who was he?
Not just some random acquaintance. He was known as Gamal's closest friend, always around the house apparently, a constant presence.
Okay.
But then the little girl gives them this detail, and it just sends chills down their spines. She says Mahmoud was at their house the night before Gamal's body was found.
The night before?
Yes. But he wasn't there offering condolences or anything like that. He was celebrating. With Rida, Gamal's wife, they were eating rice pudding together.
Celebrating. While her husband is missing, presumed dead.
It gets worse. The daughter then tells them something she overheard Mahmoud say to Rida. He said, "Thank God everything we agreed on is finished."
Everything we agreed on is finished. My goodness.
And this celebration, this conversation, it happened in Rida's bedroom, which strongly suggests Jamal was already gone, already dealt with.
The pieces just snap together there, don't they? It points directly at Reda and Mahmoud.
Absolutely. The police zeroes in on them immediately. And while the community might have painted a picture of Jamal as this loyal husband and friend, the official records, they told a very, very different story.
Another twist.
A big one. Investigators dug up an old police report. It detailed a previous arrest, both Mahmoud and Rida.
Arrested together. For what?
An act of public indecency in the public road. That's the official term. So concrete proof of an illicit relationship between them.
Wow. Okay. But what's truly damning, you said?
What's absolutely staggering is that the record indicated Jamal knew about this. He knew about the arrest, the scandal, and apparently he did nothing, showed no concern, utterly unfazed.
That level of apathy, it's hard to comprehend, knowing your wife was arrested with your best friend for indecency.
It is astounding. So, faced with the forensic evidence, the poisoning, and the daughter's damning testimony, and now this old police report, Rida and Mahmoud didn't hold out long.
They confessed.
They confessed. They admitted the rice pudding was exactly what it looked like, a celebration, marking the fact that they'd successfully carried out the murder plan.
Okay, so we know how it ended, brutally. But why? What drove them to this? You mentioned pressure, going back years.
We have to rewind. Go back 11 years before the murder to 1979. That's when Rida married Jamal. She was only 15 years old.
15. Married to a man of 25.
Yes. And initially, Maybe she was impressed. He had a decent job then, working for a pharmaceutical company. Stability. And Rita, despite being so young, she felt this sense of duty, maybe even love initially.
But that stability didn't last.
Not even close. Barely a year into the marriage, Jamal just quits his job.
Quits. Why?
The sources describe him as very lazy, just unwilling to work, unwilling to take responsibility for his family. Rita stuck by him, though.
That must have been incredibly difficult.
And it got worse. Over the next few years, they had 5 children. 5. And the poverty just deepened. They couldn't afford their apartment anymore, had to move into just one single small room.
5 kids in one room. And then things shifted again, didn't they? From financial struggle to something else.
Yeah, outright abandonment. Jamal suddenly decides he's going to travel abroad for work to another Arab country. He leaves, promises he'll make money, send for them.
Let me guess, that didn't happen.
He just vanished, went
Right.
completely silent. For 2 whole years, Rita heard nothing. No letters, no money, no calls, nothing. She's left completely alone with 5 children to feed and clothe.
How did she even manage? 2 years is a long time.
It was the community, really. Her neighbors, people nearby. They helped her set up a tiny kiosk, just a small stand, so she could earn something to survive. She was effectively a single mother, abandoned.
And then out of the blue.
He just reappears. After 2 years of absolute silence, Jamal walks back into her life. No warning.
Did he come back rich, having made his fortune?
Not even slightly. He came back with more debt than when he left. He'd achieved nothing financially.
Oh, come on. That's brutal.
And that moment, his empty-handed return after abandoning them for 2 years, that's cited as the specific point everything changed for Rita.
Yeah.
Any respect, any lingering affection she might have had for Jamal, it just evaporated, gone.
So why did she stay then after that?
For the children. Only for the children. But she laid down the law, set a firm condition. She wouldn't support him financially anymore, not a penny. He had to support the family. He had to start a proper business.
And he agreed.
He agreed, and that's when he started the fava bean cart, the one that became quite popular, ironically.
So the marriage is now basically a business arrangement built on resentment. Not a great foundation.
Not at all. It's just simmering bitterness. And right into that unhappy situation walks Mahmoud.
The friend? Mahmoud, the taxi driver.
Right, and unlike Jamal, Mahmoud had his act together, financially speaking. He had a car, money. He starts off as just a regular customer at Jamal's cart.
But they become friends, close friends.
Very close. Jamal apparently really took to him. He even asked Mahmoud for help getting a ration card, a sign of trust, of reliance. Mahmoud started coming over the house all the time.
And Rita sees this.
She sees Mahmoud. He's ambitious, he's got money, he's bringing gifts for the kids, and she compares him to Jamal. Lazy, unambitious, broke Jamal. Rita was only 25 then, described as being in the prime of her youth.
It's almost inevitable what happens next, given the circumstances.
She started it, apparently, flirting with Mahmoud, testing the waters, and the relationship took off quickly. They started meeting secretly, even at Mahmoud's apartment.
And for Rita, this must have felt validating.
Exactly. Mahmoud made her feel valued, desired, something Jamal hadn't done, maybe ever, certainly not in years. It was a stark contract.
But then came that arrest, the public indecency charge. That must have thrown a wrench in the works.
It revealed a huge lie. When they were arrested, Mahmoud, panicking, trying to lessen the charge, claimed Rita was his wife.
His wife?
But he already had a wife and children. He'd hidden that fact completely from Rita. That was the first shock for her. Discovering Mahmoud wasn't who he claimed to be.
And the second shock?
Jamal's reaction, or rather his complete lack of reaction. Throughout the whole police process, the legal fallout. Jamal never asked Rita about it, never seemed angry, never seemed bothered by the massive scandal involving his wife and his best friend. Just nothing.
Like he didn't care at all. So Rita, her marriage is clearly over in her mind. Mahmoud's lied to her, but maybe she still sees a future. What does she do?
She asks Jamal for a divorce. Straight up. She wants out, possibly hoping she can still marry Mahmoud despite the lies.
And Jamal's response, given his apathy.
His response is chilling. He refuses, instantly. No hesitation. And he tells her he'll leave her hanging, meaning he'd never grant her the divorce, trapping her indefinitely.
Why? Why refuse if he didn't seem to care about the affair?
Because then he admits it. He knew about the affair all along, and his apathy wasn't just indifference, it was strategy. He saw an opportunity.
An opportunity for what?
To exploit the situation, he started blackmailing Mahmoud, demanding money, favors, constant financial support from his friend. That was the price for Gamal's silence, the price for allowing the affair to continue under his nose.
Oh my God. So he wasn't just lazy and neglectful. He became a predator, using his wife's affair and his friend's guilt to make money.
For months, apparently, Gamal was actively profiting from the situation, leveraging their secret for cash. Rida was trapped, Mahmoud was being bled dry, and Gamal was getting paid.
That situation couldn't hold. It's just too toxic, too volatile.
Exactly. And that desperation, that feeling of being completely cornered, with Gamal refusing any way out, that's what led Rida and Mahmoud to decide murder was the only option left.
But you mentioned something earlier, something about a contract. That detail is just astounding.
It really is. They didn't just talk about it, didn't just make a verbal pact, they actually wrote it down. A signed document, a contract between them.
What did it say?
It promised they would marry each other immediately after Gamal was dead. It was basically an insurance policy, wasn't it? Making sure neither one would back out or betray the other once the deed was done.
The level of distrust between them, even as they're planning this horrific act together, it's incredible.
Speaks volumes, doesn't it? So they put the plan into motion right away, but they weren't very good at it initially.
Failed attempts.
2 of them. First, Reda tried poisoning Gamal's food at home. The dose wasn't right or something. It didn't work.
Okay.
Then Mahmoud invited Gamal over to his place, tried poisoning him there. Again, Gamal somehow survived it. They realized they couldn't do it reliably themselves.
So they needed help.
Mahmoud reached out, found a third party, offered them money to assist, to make sure it worked this time.
So the final attempt.
Mahmoud invites Gamal over one last time. This time, with help, they administer a strong dose of poison in his food. Enough to knock him out completely, lose consciousness.
That explains the lack of struggle.
Exactly. Once he was incapacitated, totally helpless, they used a sharp knife, inflicted those brutal slash wounds the worker found later.
And then?
Then they loaded Gamal's body into Mahmoud's car, drove to the Al-Ghafir cemetery, and just dumped him there.
And Mahmoud went straight from dumping the body
to Rida's house. Just like the daughter testified. He brought sweets, rice pudding. They stayed up celebrating their success until almost dawn.
That celebration, the source called it the last Sora.
Yes, the Sora, usually it's a late-night gathering, often for happy occasions, celebrations with friends, family. Using that term for celebrating a murder is just profoundly dark.
And the next morning, Rida puts on an act.
Completely. Goes to Gamal's family, pretending to be worried, crying, saying he never came home the night before, playing the distraught wife.
When the police finally caught up with them, did they show any remorse, any regret at all?
Apparently none. It's one of the most chilling aspects. During the investigation, Rida expressed absolutely no regret for arranging the murder of her husband, the father of her 5 children.
And Mahmoud?
Mahmoud gave this bizarre justification. He claimed he killed Gamal because Gamal didn't appreciate his wife's beauty and femininity, showed zero concern for his own wife and children, or for the fact he'd murdered his supposed best friend. Just cold.
So, the outcome for them?
Both Reda and Mahmoud were convicted of premeditated murder. Both were sentenced to death.
It's just layers upon layers of tragedy here, isn't it?
It really is. You have Reda, married off incredibly young, facing immense poverty and neglect. That pressure is undeniable. But the whole story pivots, I think, on Gamal's reaction to the affair.
His refusal to grant the divorce.
Yes, and not just refusing, but turning it into a tool for exploitation. His laziness was one thing, but his decision to become a blackmailer, to actively profit from the situation rather than end the marriage, that ultimately sealed his fate. His apathy became predatory.
And that cost him his life.
It seems so. His own actions, his refusal to let go while simultaneously profiting from the betrayal, directly led to his murder.
So as you process this whole deep dive, think about that final detail, that signed contract between Reda and Mahmoud.
Right. Was that piece of paper born out of some twisted, desperate love, a guarantee that they'd finally be together after all this?
Or was it something much colder? Simply the final act of 2 conspirators who fundamentally distrusted each other. A calculated move in a deadly game, acknowledging that in their world, even a pact to commit murder needed to be put in writing. Something to think about.